Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan going on trial starting this week for corruption. We've got jury selection that's going to begin, and a lot of questions of what exactly is going to surface during the trial. Now, Madigan was the longest-serving state House Speaker in Illinois. He was Speaker for all but 2 years, from 1983 till 2021. He was also the chair of the Democratic Party of Illinois since, I think, like 1998 up until 2021. So that nexus of power he had as somebody who could control what goes through the legislature while also controlling the party purse has been heavily scrutinized. And then in 2020, the summer, there was a a deferred prosecution agreement between ComEd and federal prosecutors, essentially ComEd acknowledging that they took part in corrupt acts with Madigan and Madigan Associates to benefit the utility, but also for personal gain for Madigan. So Madigan wasn't named in this. It was only Public Official A, titled the Illinois House Speaker, and everybody obviously making those connections. It was Madigan. And then in 2022, Madigan was ultimately charged after he had stepped down as Speaker and chair of the Democratic Party of Illinois. Then the ComEd 4 trial began, and that was 4 individuals who were associates of ComEd and Mike Madigan, charged with bribery. And during that trial, which ultimately they were found guilty, however, you've got the ComEd 4 trying to have their case, reevaluated after the Supreme Court of the United States ruled in a case narrowing the definition of bribery. So defense attorneys for the ComEd 4 executives and lobbyists looking to have that case dropped. We'll see where that goes. But regardless, Madigan himself has tried to use the U.S. Supreme Court narrowing the bribery statutes to try to get his case refined. That has also not worked. But anyways, back to the ComEd 4 trial after, of course, several weeks and a lot of testimony, including undercover video. This is fascinating, and I do want to go through some of this, but undercover video shows conversations between Fidel Marquez, who is working with authorities, and Mike McLean.
And have them write up what they do. I'm like, I don't know what they do.
And they're talking about job descriptions and what exactly these individuals under contract through a lobbying outfit that ComEd's paying. These individuals are associates with Mike Madigan. Here's Mike McLean talking about the top guys that are associates of Madigan.
They're all former board committeeman and alderman, Zalewski, former alderman Olivo, and this either was number 1, 2, or 3, depending on the year, his best precinct worker. He actually trains other precinct workers.
So you had Marquez, again, wearing an undercover recording device. The video, for whatever reason, isn't translating here, but they talked about the cost, because Marquez, working with the feds, trying to get clarity as to what these individuals were doing for the money they were being paid for by ComEd. And you heard McLean, who's a co-defendant with Madigan starting this week. He's already been found guilty with the ComEd 4, but McLean talking about the overall costs and what they ultimately do here, with Marquez saying it's not clear how he can tell ComEd what exactly these individuals are doing.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't know the numbers offhand.
I've never asked him, but probably 10 grand a month at least.
Yeah, I don't remember offhand.
That's 288. If it's 10 grand a month.
So obviously, it's a lot of money that ComEd was paying. Marquez is trying to get from McLean, a longtime confidant of Madigan, what exactly these guys do, because he's worried he's going to go into a meeting and they're going to see this contract line, and Marquez is going to have to explain what the individuals are doing as part of a contract with Jay Doherty, who was also part of the ComEd 4, who's found guilty. And Jay Doherty, in an undercover video recording that Marquez got for prosecutors back in 2019, in the spring of 2019, they talked about this and how exactly they're supposed to explain what these individuals are doing.
As far as I know, maybe you could tell me different. All these guys do is, they're a sub under you, and you cut them a check. Do they do anything, or what do they do? What do you have them doing?
Not much, to
Okay.
answer the question.
Okay.
Not much. What, let me just answer this. if I ever need anything from, in general, I would ask him. But this is really all, this is, just you and me talking.
Yeah,
This all came from Hooker, McLean, Frank.
okay.
And I don't talk to Frank only. I mean, when my dad died and was
Right.
and stuff like that. But I don't say, go do this in Springfield.
Right.
Go do this at the city council. Go do that. Ray Nice, I met with a couple of times. Ed Moody, I mean, I see him, but I don't do anything specific. But I do know that every 6 or 8 or 9 months, every once in a while, Hooker will call and say, is everything okay with the guys or whatever?
Okay,
Because I know John C. is the chairman, the speaker.
I see.
So again, the conversation really focused on what are these do-nothing jobs? How am I supposed to explain these? All right, and even heard Doherty there saying they don't really do much, except for when I call them and I need something every once in a while. But he also hinted that this is part of what Madigan's wanting. What exactly do they get the benefit from?
So, number one, your money comes from Springfield. ComEd money, right? I mean, for the most part.
You mean that's how we make our money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Through our rates, yes.
And, I would, for me, and again, Mike Madigan's not my best friend, but if I called him right now, he'd call or he'd say, "Jay, if I want to see him, I'd go see him." But my bottom line advice would be, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. With those guys.
Okay.
I don't think, you've been around the game and, and again, Madigan doesn't ask. I never, ever once had a conversation with Mike about these people.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that I have every reason to believe that McLean has.
Okay,
I know Hooker has.
okay.
Because Hooker would call me with, I didn't know these guys. I never met these guys.
Yeah.
I met Olivo because what you guys
Oh, he used to be an alderman.
Council, yeah. And Zaleski I know well.
When he was the alderman.
Yeah.
Right.
And they keep their mouth shut and, so, but do they do anything for me on a day-to-day basis? No.
No, all right.
Kind of fascinating to hear some of that again. And then at the tail end of, and all of this, by the way, the video and audio is what has been released during the ComEd 4 trial, where ComEd 4 were found guilty. And I imagine with the Madigan trial, we may see even more audio and video evidence, and we'll be reviewing some of that as it comes in. But at the tail end of this, federal prosecution provided during the ComEd 4 trial evidence. You've got Doherty and Marquez, who was working. Marquez working with the feds. Doherty talking about how to keep Madigan happy.
And these other 3 people, all this money. I don't know about the other 3 people. That's just can be answered in Springfield with Madigan, and to keep Mike Madigan happy, I think it's worth it. I mean, just because you'd hear otherwise.
Okay.
I mean, my opinion would he. I never talked to him about it.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to.
Yeah.
But Hooker has.
Yeah.
And do you talk with John much?
Yeah, I talked to John.
He'll know the story, and he'll know the story about collecting all the dough.
So he'll know the story about collecting all the dough. Again, evidence from the ComEd 4 trial, just to kind of help paint that picture of what the prosecutors are revealing in do-nothing jobs handed to Madigan Associates in exchange for ComEd paying those individuals. ComEd could get some favorable legislation. So Marquez being charged in this as well, he pleaded to something, and he was working with prosecutors to get this undercover video. He was talking with McLean about, hey, how do I explain this to Joe Dominguez, who was the CEO of ComEd at this time, about this contract. And then he goes to Doherty to get more information about the contract, and Doherty seemed to reveal that, this was to keep Madigan happy. These lobbyists, these do-nothing contracts that he admitted, they don't really do much. So then the undercover audio and video from a meeting that McLean had with Marquez and Dominguez about this exact thing. And you can't really see much on the video, just where the camera's positioned, but the audio is crystal clear.
The history with Madigan is, even in the...
McLean.
When Lee Daniels was Speaker, we had a bill that we wanted heard, and Lee wanted no part of it. And even then, Madigan grabbed the bill and had the meetings in his office, and the same thing with when we deragged it's just, I don't know if it's his view of ComEd from even the 70s when you know, he got to name people to be meter readers, right? I mean, it's the old-fashioned patronage system, and ComEd played it like
a chip.
You're a ward committeeman, and we have 7 meter readers in your ward, and you can name 4 of them. You know, and that's just the way ComEd was for years. And then as we kind of morphed into not being able to do that, no meter readers, and frankly, your employees are more skilled than a lot of people in his ward. We morphed into how else can we help you?
So again, you know, the old-time patronage system, trying to morph it into what's available now, because a lot of the jobs they were handing out back then weren't necessarily as skilled as they are now, so they had to find different ways. The system's been in place for a long time, they said at this meeting.
So that's just what we've always done for, good Lord, over 20 years now, because we can't really do meter readers. We don't have them anymore. We don't have linemen. There's no one from the 13th Ward lineman. So what we have is Mike Zalusi Jr. Senior.
He goes
Used to be an
through
alderman.
some of the others that are involved in this, and ultimately Dominguez kind of, you know, reserved back to, okay, well, it, you know, makes sense. We just need people who are connected.
It's like the lobbying team itself, you know. There are periods of time where people are saying, "The hell are these guys doing? Why are we paying them?"
Right.
And then they will do something in the magic moment.
That's worth
between
that's worth 100 times what you're paying them.
Right. And so that's.
No, it was just me wanting to make sure, Joe, that.
No, I don't want to hold it up. This is fine.
So we're going. So it's going forward.
Yeah.
No, when you sent me that note,
Okay. Good.
that was it.
Good.
I just want you to be aware.
So
We gotta
again,
do that business.
that's just
Yeah.
some of the evidence that was released. There was a lot of phone conversations as well, trying to, you know, paint that picture of the Madigan enterprise that federal prosecutors allege happened over a decade to benefit Madigan and Associates in exchange for favorable legislation from ComEd. Madigan goes on trial this week. You've got jury selection starting tomorrow, I believe, and then a 10-week trial expected. We'll do what we can to keep you posted on the latest. As, again, some of these headlines here, you've got prosecutors want to bar politics as usual defense in the Madigan trial. Madigan criticizes the press frenzy as he works to screen the jury, and Madigan doesn't want the word corruption used at his trial. And you've also got McLean, who wanted to split from Madigan during this trial, but the judge denying that as well. So lots of moving pieces there, but does it show what people are concerned about when it comes to corruption in Illinois? And as we head into the November election, is it going to impact the November election? Questions that surely we all have to be thinking about here. All right, it's Illinois in Focus Daily. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell with America's Talking Network. And check out thecentersquare.com for the latest headlines and get the newsletter. Stay informed.